Peace and blessings, family. Sister Aja Lee. I'm not going to show that disgusting either video or screen capture of the Dai-lemma. I don't know how to pronounce it in right now. I really don't care. Asking a little boy to suck his tongue. It was gross, as it was meant to be. But looking at it, I understood that there's more to that event than meets the eye, because we just naturally assume, that was the first time that the Dalai-Lama did something like that? He was real comfortable on camera asking such a thing. And it just reminded me of a video I did on my old channels. This is the Swedish, I think, or Dutch, let's just say Dutch, financier Ronald Bernard. I just recalled his whole name. You can't find this video that I read the subtitles on, just to ensure that as many people would watch it as possible. And back before they heavily shadow banned my channel, this was one of the most viewed videos on my channel. I think it managed to get about 20,000 views. Altogether, my old channels got 5 million views, which is considered something of note. But that's the reasons why they got rid of those channels have nothing to do with me dancing over Queen Elizabeth's demise. So in this, he was explaining the despicable ways that the ruling elite controls societies. And in all of that, we know is child abuse, sacrifices of children. And gratefully, they haven't dragged societal morality down to the level where if they threaten these different governmental leaders with exposing all kinds of photos of them in compromised positions, that we wouldn't be absolutely horrified. And at the very least, their careers are permanently over. I mean, they even got Charlemagne the fraud. Dude, like, why are you named Charlemagne? That makes no damn sense. That's whiteism worship right there. Slamming the Dalai-Lama. How easy is it for this dude to be hosted up there as some authority on morality when he's on board for the whole thing? But I've noticed that they have to give their agents something to talk about, so that they can gain or regain credibility with the masses. And they did that during the lockdowns too. All of a sudden, all of these, white folks started showing up, some who work for these pharmaceuticals, who were giving the real deal about what was going on. And I said, wait a minute. And there were people who I went to and I tried to get them to talk about Fukushima fallout and the dangers of low-level radiation, and it was crickets. All of a sudden, they're experts over the details of things that they swore when it came to what I was sharing, they were too dumb to understand. That just told me, no, this is rigged. Definitely. And thereby, this type of behavior is nothing new. The Dalai-Lama reminds me of Mother Teresa, who, when you do the search on Mother Teresa, and you got to keep going, you find out that she was just basically a pimp who would funnel children to the Catholic Church. Now, the Pope has been admitting all kinds of nasty things and trying to push the church to just, they might as well next week say the Pope approves of bestiality. It's been so foul. and, apartments they own in Europe where the neighbors complain because they're hearing demonic screams, literally demonic sounds coming from these apartments. So this is nothing new. And I wonder if they're starting with the Dai-lemma because it's a warning to Asian societies, Asian leaders, to step up the chaos. Because I remember how Akai Gurley was assassinated by Peter Liang, and all these Asian people came out begging to be recognized as officially white with the ability. See, we're on board for assassinating black people and acting as if we did nothing wrong. So that was plastered all over the place. Stop Asian hate, as if this is something coming from us, and it's not actually even hired agents, black agents, being told, like, what black person needs to walk down the street and just punch a random person in the face? This story was never broadcasted. An entire African family was burned to death in a starter community out somewhere in the Midwest, and one of the murderers was an Asian. But this got no play in the media whatsoever. Story was removed altogether. I'm curious about how this whole video was suddenly, quote unquote, leaked to the public. That further reminds me of so many things. But first, Kissinger, who came out, and I did a video on my old channel and it's gone. Kissinger warns Washington to accept new global system or face endless conflict. They want just regular you and me to blow a gasket, to be out in the streets rioting, because it is in chaos that the devil has his best chance of ruling. And it's in chaos he stands his best chance of hiding the fact that they are shipping Fukushima food into all Western nations. My firm conclusion, they've been shipping radiation into Africa and India, because they really don't give a damn about black people. And India is a little too brown for them, and they never ever forgave India for hoisting the British the hell on out of there. They don't forget this stuff. They haven't forgotten how Greece had the nerve to be the origin of the concept of democracy. It wasn't exactly that at all. What we had in our Aboriginal societies, that was truly egalitarian. But Greece and ancient Rome even were close enough to Africa that they sort of said, you know what, these guys have their finger on the pulse of how to have a happier, more content general population, because they feel a measure of inclusion. That's called love. That's something that black you and me, we excel at, being in harmony with the real meaning of life. We don't tend to, I didn't understand. What's it all mean? Here I am in my beautiful house with my beautiful wife, and I don't know, I'm in a rut, and I just can't understand. I got all this stuff, and everything still doesn't mean anything. You'll hear that often from Europeans and those derived from Europeans. Once they get everything, no matter what means they employ, that they just have a overall emptiness. That unless we are close up to these dudes, that makes no sense to us. And so they've been doing their best just to put out their little satanic nothingness all over the place. This is the church that placed a statue of Moloch at the Colosseum entrance right before all the pandemic hysteria, which was scripted practice in these global forums before anything got started. And the World Health Organization stated that, they started saying, oh, what happens if there's this great big global disease? No, it's Fukushima fallout, dudes. They had it originally correct when they said there was going to be a 70% increase rate of cancers worldwide. They just needed to find something to hide all the death so that you don't pay attention. They need some way to hide the fact that the FDA is allowing all Fukushima food in, even though they tested the soil and discovered it's just as radioactive as it was when Fukushima was exploded. And so these dudes, they've got employees who really are the most mentally crippled persons on the planet, who engage in whatever they do for disgusting reasons. And they handed the elites, who are also disgustingly stupid, when you're going to destroy the only planet we have because you think sooner or later you could get just real good people to go along and not notice the agenda, not notice the script. You think you're going to get us to go along and think, oh, if the devil isn't in charge, what is there? There's heaven. That's what there is, okay? And so, hallelujah. That's what it said we will be saying. I'm saying it already. Hallelujah. Devil's going down. And I'm always going to mention those 85,000 Boy Scouts who won in court. And the story was ripped from the headlines altogether. Won in court for claims that they were systematically raped in the Boy Scouts. Well, the whole story was systematically removed from the headlines. And because over the decades, they have gained absolute control of the media. And that's going to just sequester itself to mainstream media? No, social media too. That's why Voice is coming and giving you data that nobody else would dare mention. And we'll just look and say, oh, look, he's got 100,000 views on this. He's the real deal. No, these people are picked and they are bowed down to lie. And not one of them would ever mention the facts about low-level radiation and how deadly it is. They didn't even mention the 9 billion missing crabs? That story just dropped like the Boy Scouts. Okay? And so these guys, they own the media. Ain't nothing going on that isn't scripted and meant to please Henry Kissinger. And so even when I saw, you got some white folks don't want to die either. I don't want to partner up with them. Oh, hell to the no. That has been disastrous. That's integration. And that's why we have Fukushima, right? Because they had Gunter Myrdal, who was hired by the United States Congress to come on in and figure out what to do about their Negro dilemma. That was the book he wrote. And they decided that, white Americans would prefer if we didn't exist. And so Fukushima is their answer. But it's going to kill white people, even though they don't want to die. I see so many shows where it's like mom, grandpa, children, wife, husband, cousins, whatever, died from all the things that radiation causes, and cancer is just one small part of it. And they actually genuinely cry. Miss them. If they understood the vector being used to take us out is directly impacting them, and with that lack of melanin, they in trouble. Trust and believe, they be pissed as nines, but they love the myth of their whiteness. They love it. So I don't expect anything from them but treachery, because they don't feel comfortable with the full truth. You and me, we do. But we are addicted to popularity, to needing these people to tell us when they mean us no good. We're like, oh my goodness, he got a degree from Harvard. That to me is like, you might as well just put a shadow of his future coffin as far as anything that anybody of the sort, any black person is going to be doing on our black behalf. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And you aren't going to find out the details of Fukushima fallout from any of these black Harvard elites. Okay? Ain't happening. And they may know about it, but they ain't going to say a damn word. Right? So from this control by the satanic elite media, fake news curated by the deep state, government spin, doctors control the news cycle. So John Whitehead, I ain't going to say anymore, who lays out the details. We know about this. That's why I entreat you to share my channel, share my videos, and don't let me forget to say, donate. I'm going to get that spectrogram to test our food. If you haven't donated yet, that's only because you do not fully understand the devastating effects of eating radiation. It's on your plate every single day. Our only chance is getting our food tested. If you know somebody else who's going to use a spectrogram, not a parts per million reader, in order to inform us all, not just a couple people, but all of us, what it is that is more highly radioactive and what is less. If you know somebody like that, please share that person with all of us. But right now, this channel, I'm the best chance we have of putting all of that into action, because we must have that data. We don't need to see, and we will never see, huge numbers on anything I do at all. That doesn't mean it's not being effective. I see it's being effective. I mean, just the way that they brought down the organization Black Lives Matter, they've got the down low on all these folks, so that if they're not effective in the satanic elite's agenda, they're going to remind them, and they're going to substitute for the new one, which is the critical race theory, which they're pushing together with wokery, so clueless white folks can look and assume that suddenly the people, black us, who are accused of being the most homophobic on the planet, are suddenly supporting what we know to our soul is wrong. Right? Support your soldiers. And this is the place to start. 25,000 year cycle where you will get your full and complete healing on. I love you. Straight black family pride. And we're good. Peace and blessings.